Hello, boys and girls. We're going to begin a unit using the microbit. So this is called the Microbit Introduction, Physical Computing with the Microbit. Our objective is to identify key features of a digital tool, the microbit, and the MakeCode work environment. What is physical computing? Physical computing is creating or using devices that interact with the world around us. With the microbit, we can create computer code, download it to the microbit, and use it to interact in the real world. If you think about something like a fitness tracker, like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or something like that, those are very, very small computers that can interact with the world around you, as well as other type of computing devices. But if we think about it in those terms, it can give us an idea of the different things that we may be able to do with a microbit. What I'd like you to do is take a look at the microbit and what are some things that you notice about it. Write 3 things that you notice about the microbit and complete this on the worksheet in Google Classroom. Next thing, write 1 question you have about the microbit. So looking at this tiny device, what's at least 1 question that you have about the microbit? Once again, complete this on the worksheet in Google Classroom. So you've made your observations about the microbit and you've written at least 1 question about the microbit. So what is a microbit? A microbit is what is called a microcontroller. A microcontroller is a small device similar to a mini computer used to control other devices and machines. For our purposes, we can think of the microbit as a mini computer. Some key parts of the microbit. If we look at the top of it, it has an LED grid. That is the area that displays content. So if we look at all of the lights or these areas where these little dots are, those are lights, and that is the LED grid. There is the micro USB port. That's where we will connect our cable to the microbit so that we can connect it to the computer so that we can download code to the microbit. And there's a battery port also because the microbit on its own cannot work. If we think about maybe a smartphone or other type of digital devices, if it is fully charged, then it will work on the battery that is inside of it. However, if it is not fully charged, it may work if it is plugged in to a computer. So our microbit can be powered if it is attached to batteries or if it is plugged in to a computer. We also have the microbit emulator. So if we don't have microbits available to use, we can use the microbit emulator. You can test your code using an emulator before downloading it to your microbit. And an emulator is hardware or software designed to imitate a piece of hardware or software in order to do the same work or run the same programs. The microbit emulator allows you to run your microbit programs and observe the output on a computer without downloading the code. So in the case where we may not have a microbit, we could always use the microbit emulator on the MakeCode website. Let's take a look at some key terminology that's important while we are using the microbit. First of all, code or program. We've heard this term before, coding. It's a set of instructions that a computer understands. So we will create code to get our microbit to do what we want it to do. USB to micro USB cable. That is the cord that transfers data and information from a computer to a device. In our case, we will connect this to the microbit and the computer, and we will download our code from the computer to the microbit. Download is taking information or data from a device or a computer. We're taking our information from the computer to the microbit. So we're downloading our code from the computer to the microbit. And troubleshoot, many times when we're programming and we're using digital devices to create, almost certainly when you are programming or coding, you will more than likely run into issues. And it's important that you troubleshoot and try to figure out what is going on in order to resolve the issue. How does the microbit work? First of all, you start by creating the computer code on the MakeCode website. Then you connect the USB to micro USB cable to the microbit. You will download the code to the microbit from your computer. If you're using an emulator, you will not have to download the code to the microbit, and then you will run the code. Let's take a look at the MakeCode programming or work environment. In the upper left-hand corner, we have the emulator. That is how you can test your code before actually downloading your project or your code to your physical microbit. Immediately below the emulator is where you would download the code. In the center, or next to the emulator, you have the categories. And once you click on the categories, you will see your selection of blocks to choose from. And then you have your programming area. You'll drag your blocks from the categories into the programming area to code. Let's head over to Google Classroom, and we're going to open the Microbit Introduction Flashing Heart. In here, you'll see that worksheet where you can respond to those questions, and you have the terminology where you have to match down below. Let's start off by creating a Microbit project. So this is the Flashing Heart project, and down here where it says Flashing Heart, that's where you can give it a name. So I'm going to call this Flashing Heart 2023. And we have a couple of blocks already loaded in our work area, the forever loop and also the on start loop. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the basic category. If I click on the basic category, I see some blocks show up. So I'm going to grab this. I have the third block, which is 1, 2, 3, show icon. And I'm going to put that inside of the forever loop. And what we have here is a heart. So if you notice my emulator, it has a heart show up. We want this to flash. So what I can do is I can go back to the basic area and I can click on the show LED, which is the second block. And now we have a flashing heart. So there is our flashing heart. We could add other different things to this. You could explore with different LEDs. For example, if I click on this show icon, I have all of these other. I could maybe change that heart to a happy face. So now I have a flashing happy face. But this is my flashing heart program, so I'm going to just put that in there, and I have my flashing heart. And what we need to do is, if you notice, there is no save button on the MakeCode website. So all of our projects, whether we have a microbit or not, we are going to have to save them to our computer and upload them to our Google Drive. So I'm going to click download. And it's important that you know where your project is downloading. Mine is downloading into this microbit sample code folder that I have. And there's the name. I'll click save. And I'm just going to go to my Google Drive. And on my computer, I'll navigate to that folder. So that went into this folder right here. And there it is right there. I'm going to click on that. And I am actually just going to drag that into my Google Drive. So now I have that project in my Google Drive. What I'd like you to do is take that project once you have it in your Google Drive and go back over to this assignment, Microbit Introduction Flashing Heart. Click Add or Create. Click Google Drive. In your Google Drive, you should see that right there. It should be your most recent file. So you're going to click on that and you'll just click Add. Once you have completed and uploaded your Flashing Heart project, what I'd like you to do is go back to the MakeCode website. And you're going to click on New Project. We'll give this a name. I'll just call this one Microsoft Basics 2023, and I'll click Create. What we're going to do is if we go back over to Google Classroom and click on that worksheet, down at the last page of the worksheet, it says Create a new project, use a minimum of 4 blocks from the basic category, and create a project. You can simply use the show block once and use 4 different displays, and at least 1 block from the music category, name and download the project, upload the project to Google Drive. So I'll give you an idea of what that might look like back over here in MakeCode. So we have our forever block and our start block, and you could use either one of these. I'll just continue to use the forever block since that's what we used in the initial Flashing Heart project. I'll click on basic, and if I were to use the show icon once, what it means is not use it once, but just that would be the only block that you would use, and you would use it 4 times. And if you don't know what I'm doing here, I'm right-clicking, and when I right-click, I can click duplicate and change that. But right now, that shows a heart, so maybe I want to do something like show a check, show an X, show something like that, and I can scroll down and maybe show something like that. And now if I run this in my emulator, we have that. And that's my project. And then it also says add something from the music category. Let's try this play melody. So now if I run this, we have a project. Some other options are you can add this show LED, and you can click in and make your own design from the LED. So if you wanted to do something like that, you can do that also. Maybe I want to make the letter R for my first name. So it kind of looks like an R there. So now if I run this, and it shows those designs. Another thing you can do is in the basic area, you have these numbers, so I can click show number and we can type in a number there. So maybe I want to type for some reason 200. So if I click play, it shows. And you have the show string. So the string, that would read a word, and you can type in a word there. So there you have it. Once you're done with that, you're going to do as you did before. You're going to download that. And then you'll click on that little arrow there. This is an easier, faster way to find where your work is saved to. There's a little arrow on your computer, and you can click show in folder if you click there, and it's right there. And if I go back to my Google Drive, I click on that folder, I can just drag that from that folder into my Google Drive, and I'll go back to Google Classroom, click add or create Google Drive, and there that microbit project is right there. And once you're done with this, you'll click turn in. If you have any questions, send an email or a comment in Google Classroom.